Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very, very accomplished and recognized HR leader from Bangalore, India, Mr. Ramakrishna Rao. Ram, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. Pleasure being here.
Thank you. Ram is the Chief Learning Officer of Page Industry. He's amongst the top 35 young HR leaders of 2022 of the TAPI management, and he's amongst the top 100 global HR influencers in 2022. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Ram, before we start talking about learning, tell me a little bit about your own journey in brief.
Okay, so I trained myself to be a software engineer, and in a couple of months, I figured out software is not soft, at least for me. So that's when I started looking out on what are the other options I have. I figured out I'm more of a people's person than more of a coding person, and then I made a switch. Started with a vocational training center, started doing career coaching through a science called graphology at that point, and then it slowly evolved. Primarily with the premise that you should make your career choices based on what you're good at, rather than what is hot in the market of sorts.
Right.
So that's how I started off. That's my journey into coaching per se, and that's why you will see myself tagging as Coach Ram.
Correct.
Then moved into corporate training, conducting programs for organizations like Infosys, Wipro, HP. So my career could sort of be split into two parts. The first half is into IT and ITS firms, and the second half is into retail. Spent a couple of years with Future Group, heading their South region for learning and development, and then different roles with Aditya Birla Fashion. That's a pan-India national role, leading their learning and development. And now I'm with Page Industries, Jockey, again, a market leader in our own category. So through and through, I've largely been in the domain of learning, capability building, leadership development. That's something that I'm very passionate about, and that's what you'll see me talking about.
Fascinating.
Handle as well.
Fascinating. So, as the Chief Learning Officer of Page, which, as you just mentioned, is very, very known for its incredible brand Jockey, what does the role entail?
Well, the role, essentially, it's capability building for the organization. So there is a sales side of it, there's a manufacturing side of it, and there is the corporate business services side of it. Ensuring that we are agile as an organization, and our mission is to make Page Industries or Jockey as a learning organization, an organization that is constantly learning, agile, open to open to changes, visioning for future, and being capable and ready. So anything and everything that that entails, from onboarding people to aligning them to our values, ways of working, skill building for the future, leadership, future leadership development in terms of succession planning, a host of these things is what entails in terms of my role.
Wonderful. And how do you align the L&D strategy with the overall business strategy of the organization?
In my view, there's nothing called as L&D strategy.
Okay.
It's purely business strategy, and what the business is looking for. Like how you say in terms of marketing and sales, you say marketing does the brand building for the future, whereas sales does for the current. From that point of view, there is a business strategy that organization is looking at, and the L&D strategy weaves into it. So there is no program or intervention that comes out from the L&D team. Everything has to come out from the business strategy. So if the business strategy says that these are our focus categories, these are our levers of growth, then you look at how is it that we can build, people, processes, capabilities, systems to enable that. That's primarily the L&D strategy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's a great response. And when you look at, and the whole world is now talking about the future of work, I wanted to get your perspective, Ram, on what are some of the important skills and competencies that employees should develop in order to thrive in the future of work?
So I would say, if I look at a ABC of sorts, A in terms of ability to deal with ambiguity. If someone wants stability, predictability in their ecosystems, that's something that's not going to happen, and they're going to really struggle in the future of work, because the future of work is about being very nimble, agile, adapt to changes, and align and thrive. There is a interesting term called anti-fragility. We say glass is fragile, right? Something, when you put pressure, then it crumbles.
Right.
But the concept of, I think, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, he talks about this topic called anti-fragility. So something that gains strength as you put more stress, like how our muscle building happens. You put weight and you do the weights, and then the muscle grows. So from being tolerant to change to thriving in change. So that anti-fragility is a quality that everyone must and should have.
Okay.
And B, in terms of being business-centric and business-focused. There is no function, there is no role in an organization which is not linked to business.
Correct.
You can be even super specialized, niche subject or area, but end of the day, you are ultimately contributing towards business. And in the recent times, you would have seen more and more people are interested in the financials of the business, trying to understand how business happens. The more closer you are to the business, the more secure your role is.
Well said.
And the greater value addition that you'll be able to do, you'll get more opportunity to be able to do value addition. So anti-fragility, being business centric, business minded in that sense, and C in terms of customer centric. Not just some of us are in customer facing roles, but a lot of us are in internal customer facing roles.
Correct.
But if you'll always have people who are in customer facing roles saying that you have no idea how it is to face a customer. Basically, what they're saying is you're not understanding me. So if entire organization is customer focused through internal customers and that enhances the overall customer journey experience, so on and so forth. So everyone, even from a legal, from a HR, from the technical teams of sorts, if everyone is thinking about even something like engineering, and these days we talk a lot about design thinking, and the core of design thinking is keep the end user in mind.
Right.
So I would say ABC, anti-fragility, being business-centric, and customer-centric. These are the three qualities that I feel, irrespective of the domain that you are in, whether you are a new age organization, manufacturing organization, whichever, I think these are skill sets that one should definitely build in the employees.
Fascinating. And when we talk about now learning and development, I've been speaking to many people over the last few years. Technology has become a very important part of L&D. I'd love to get your perspective on how is technology transforming L&D?
I would say technology is democratizing L&D. So the scalability of learning, the relevance of learning increases with technology. Imagine a day and time when the government would print textbooks, syllabus will get revised once in 5 years, 7 years, and then that's what schools use. And if you want to change something in that syllabus, then there's a huge exercise that happens, and by the time you see that change, it will be another 2-3 years. Right. Compared to that, our L&D requirements of what our employees would need would change in a matter of few days
Mm.
with the dynamic environment that's happening.
Mm.
Suddenly, people say Chat GPT, and everyone wants to know what is that Chat GPT. Some of them have already released bots using that Chat GPT. Now we are talking about competition not between man and machine, but man with machine and man without machine.
Mm.
Right? So that orientation. So if I want skill building at scale, that can happen only through technology.
Mm.
And contextualization and personalization can happen through technology.
Mm.
So if I release a new product and I want awareness about that product in my sales organization, network, etc., it can happen very quickly through a learning system that we have. We
Mm.
create a short module, we share that, and that goes across.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about my organization, but in general.
Mm.
So learning, knowledge transfer can happen at scale and at speed
Mm.
because of technology,
Mm.
and even
That's,
personalization.
yeah.
So there are millions of employees, retail, and even otherwise, and each one of them are good at something, not good at something. So technology helps you sort of probably get them to do an assessment, and wherever they score less, those modules sort of get released through them through an AI engine, etc.
Mm.
So a lot of personalization, speed, and scale, all that happens only because of technology.
Mm. Wonderful. And when we talk of technology, does it also help in bringing inclusiveness in L&D?
Yes, definitely.
Mm.
I'll give you an example. Um, any organization, you talk about some pilot projects, etc.
Mm.
You'll suddenly say, okay, let's do a pilot in Bangalore.
Mm.
You'll say, let's do a pilot in Delhi,
Mm.
Bombay. So in a way, if you are not in one of the tier 1 cities, you are not part of new initiatives.
Mm.
The new initiatives will flow to you over a period of time once they are tried, tested in those cities,
Mm.
right? And it's easy to manage pilots where head offices are. So
Correct.
that's how these centers become focus areas and default, and the rest of the organization sort of becomes secondary.
Mm.
They get a they sort of get a second hand. It's like
Correct.
being an younger brother getting the shirts of elder brother.
Well said.
So when you talk about technology
Mm.
and you want to drive something, there are no boundaries.
Mm.
The geographical boundaries are gone.
Mm.
We want to try testing a new feature. You onboard users across diverse portfolio.
Correct.
Get people of different gender. You get people from different geographical locations.
Mm.
Each territory has its own niche requirements, strengths, challenges.
Mm.
So a whole lot of diversity can come in.
Mm.
And when you get that diversity, obviously you're being more inclusive in nature. So that's how I definitely believe technology can drive inclusivity.
Mm. I agree completely.
And it also breaks barriers in terms of channels of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The fact that I am talking to you, or
Mm.
you reached out, and I got to know about this platform, and I'm part of this platform primarily because of technology.
Mm.
Maybe we would have connected on LinkedIn, and that's how the conversation built, and we are here.
Correct.
If not for LinkedIn, and this is the first time we are talking,
Mm.
and you're asking me where are you, and I'm asking you where are you based out of.
Absolutely.
But a lot has
Absolutely.
happened for us to be on this platform, primarily because of the technology that's at play.
Absolutely. And the fact that you and I are talking
Yeah,
on a video call itself is some incredible technology that we have both been introduced to. So that's
absolutely.
fantastic. My next question, Ram, is on employee burnout. How do you balance the need for upskilling and reskilling employees with the importance of promoting employee well-being and preventing burnout?
I don't think they are at loggerheads to start with.
Okay.
Any employee, um, if you tell them I'm investing in you, I'm upskilling you, employees will be more than happy. There's no case of burnout there. I've always differentiated activity levels and stress levels. Right? You can be super active, still not be under stress. Your activity levels can be low, but you can still be under a lot of stress. It depends on how aligned you are to that activity. Is the activity energizing you, or is that activity sort of sapping your energy?
Right.
So when it comes to upskilling and upskilling, if I see it as an organizational need for me to upskill, then it's a lot of stress. Then the questions of what is in it for me, why can't I be like this, resisting change, all of those things come. And there you have a case of burnout.
Well said.
But if the narrative is seen as, okay, the world is moving ahead fast, I am at X, and my capability needs to move to X plus, and the organization is helping me, and this is going to get me ready for the future, then there is a greater buy-in from me for that particular activity.
Correct.
At that point, it's not stress. At that point, it's more energizing.
Well said.
I think the key is in terms of how you tie it to the person's career development or so on, so that they feel it is for them instead of asking what's in it for me.
Well said. One more question relating to learning, and then I want to move to coach, your avatar as a coach. My question is, how much does the organizational culture play a role in promoting continuous learning?
A lot. So there are two types of learning. One is learning for self-development, and learning which also supports organizational development. Right? So learning for self-development, even there, the culture plays a role. If I see, I've seen and I've worked with leaders who are at CXO levels, but are still investing in themselves in terms of doing some courses, listening to podcasts as a habit, and then talking about it, sharing about it. So when you have leaders like that, you automatically feel that, okay, so learning is appreciated and learning is encouraged, and that has a positive effect on you. On the other hand, if you come across people who sort of look down upon you and say that, okay, this guy has so much time to do all of this, maybe he's not focusing so much on his job, that has a very negative effect on how you look at learning as a whole. That's from an individual on learning for self-development point of view. When you look at organizational learning, and that's where earlier I spoke about learning organization, and
Correct.
that's Peter Singh he talks extensively about it in terms of whether the organization as a system are they learning. Right? When organization as a system they learn, you'll have less scenarios of a Nokia or a HMT or organizations which have stopped beyond a point. So for that kind of organization to be not blindfolded but open and learning, you need employees who are part of that ecosystem to be constantly challenging status quo. Learning is not just about learning a new skill or a new way of a new skill or a new technology. It's about, okay, we've been designing our products in this way, but can we do it differently? That's learning.
Well said.
And if someone is not challenging, if there is a lot of groupthink, there is a lot of cloning that happens in the system, then there's not much learning. There's not much diversity in thought that's happening there. Homogeneity and lack of conflict, while looks beautiful as harmony, actually is not helping the organization move forward.
Well
so
said.
From that culture, encouraging peer learning, encouraging people to challenge status quo and try new things, experiment, celebrating failure, those elements, when they become part of the culture, the organizations can thrive for decades and centuries.
Well said. Ram, let's talk about Coach Ram. And you were telling me, after software, you started coaching and then you started getting into learning and development.
Yeah.
My first question to you is that how has your own background as a software expert who decided to get into learning and development, and so many years in different organizations, how has your background supported your coaching philosophy, your style, and your values?
At least it has helped me not to think unidimensionally.
Okay.
Because my journey has been diverse, heterogeneous, very interesting in that sense. So I've studied something, doing something else. While that might still be common, people study chemical engineering and enter Infosys. That's a different story.
Correct.
But that's a start. I've worked with home-based organizations. I've worked with small startups of 5-6 people. Worked with a promoter-led organization. Promoter-led, but a professional organization, and a conglomerate like Aditya Birla, and of course worked with diverse set of leaders. Had a good share of fantastic leaders and leaders I would like to forget. So having this exposure and having seen so many careers, I know that there is no one path. I know that there is no one solution to a problem. So that helps me being non-judgmental. So when I in my coaching philosophy, I'm not going to give solutions, because the person has the best solution and it's best for them to discover. And because of the journey that I've had, I'm not blinded to any possibilities. The world is full of possibilities.
Correct.
Right. And if I look at your journey and how the brand called you would have got evolved, right? So this is something that you would not have imagined probably a year before you started this.
Absolutely.
But something that you build on, and then it builds on, and it's a possibility that becomes a reality in future. But at that point, it would not have been.
Correct.
So when people come to me and say, okay, I want to become X, you will end up becoming X. That's an easier part. But when they drop their so I call it as bullseye goal and compass goal. Bullseye goal is, I want X designation, X salary by so and so time, and you will end up achieving it.
Correct.
That's a bullseye goal, very sharp, specific. You got it. But when you look at a compass goal, saying that, okay, I want to be in this space, I want to try different things, and let me see how it evolves. And you won't believe, in my experience, I've found the compass mode actually gives you far more benefit, and you will achieve more than what you thought initially. A tree will never decide that I'll grow to 5 feet.
Correct.
Right? It keeps growing, and it keeps growing endlessly in that sense. So if you're asking me about my philosophy, this is my experience. Being non-judgmental comes naturally, and seeing the journeys, I've seen how people have grown. It instills great belief and conviction in me about the world of possibilities. And when we discuss and talk about possibilities, and you put energy into that path, people can achieve magical stuff.
Well said. What a great response. Thank you. So Ram, I have time for one more question. And this question is for the thousands of people who will listen to our conversation. Based on your own incredible journey that you've had, and you're so young and you've got so much more to achieve in life ahead, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want our viewers and listeners to take away from your journey and from our conversation?
Okay. 3 lessons. One, the past doesn't determine the future. Doesn't matter where you are now, where you want to be, is absolutely not constrained by where you are.
Correct.
And that's puts my belief in the world of possibilities.
Correct.
Number 2, you should bet on yourself before you expect anyone else to bet on you.
Mm.
If you keep waiting for opportunities,
Mm.
you can keep waiting forever.
Mm.
So you create opportunities for yourself.
Mm.
Um, people say fake it till you make it.
Mm.
I call it as fake it as you make it.
Mm.
You explore, you experiment, and that's how you discover your true self.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And third thing, I'm a very very strong believer in consistency greater than determination or
Mm.
intensity.
Mm.
Yeah, so let me rephrase that: consistency greater than intensity.
Mm.
So there may be few short bursts that we have. It might be like, okay, I look at Ashutosh Garg and I say, okay, even I want to be on this platform. Even I want so many views. The next 20 days, I do 20 podcasts with different people, and then I don't do anything for a year,
Mm.
right? So being consistent, I think, really gives you results in whatever it is.
Mm.
Intensity can be up and down.
Mm.
There may be few hits, there may be few lows, but if you are
Mm.
consistent, and and I've heard this from one of the sportsmen
Mm.
saying that doing the boring stuff consistently is what gets you to interesting success stories.
Very well said. Very well said. And Ram, on that note, and your three amazing lessons: the path does not determine the future. Second, you said bet on yourself first, create opportunities for yourself. And third one, which is so powerful, consistency is greater than intensity. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for speaking to me, Ram, about your own amazing journey. I loved what you told me about the ABC, which is ambiguity, business centric, and customer centric. Thank you for talking to me about so many different aspects of learning and development. Thank you also for talking to me about coaching. And I loved your two examples of bullseye coaching and compass coaching. Again, it sets a lot of different things in perspective when you're looking at bullseye coaching and compass coaching. Thank you
absolutely.
for speaking to me and good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.